Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FD Time. I'm Jack.
And I'm Anthony.
And today we'll be covering a story regarding a government teacher, Mr. Doe, who has misinformed his students about the concept of our American government. We found out about this shocking news from a concerned father, and we are here to report it to you. Talk about alternative facts.
A new story for a new day. Let's fast forward to the father. Peter, you're up.
Hello, Mr. Pham. What are some of the things that Mr. Doe has taught your child?
The first thing I recall is that he said the executive branch is in charge of making laws and legislation, and that it consisted of a House of Representatives and a Senate. Everyone knows that's a lie. The branch in charge of all of that is the legislative branch.
I hate being lied to. What is wrong with the world today?
This has changed both our lives for the worse.
I'm so sorry for you, ma'am. We'll see what we can do. Back to you, Tony and Jack.
What a shame. We can clearly see how distraught the child is. Poor kid, he just wanted to learn.
Very true. The government teacher, Mr. Doe, has misinformed students about the responsibilities and powers of the three branches of government.
Oh dear, what did he do wrong?
For example, he claims that the executive branch has the power to determine if judicial actions are constitutional or not. Clearly, the executive branch does not have that power, and it's even in the name. Judicial review belongs to the judicial branch, which is responsible for judging if congressional acts and acts of the executive branch are constitutional or not.
I see it's part of the whole checks and balances idea. What else did Mr. Doe do wrong?
You see, Tony, I keep talking about the lies that you taught to classes, but it'd be better if we moved on and I talked about the lessons regarding the judicial branch. One concept I'd like to discuss is judicial implementation, which is how court decisions are turned into real policies and how it influences the behaviors of others. For example, the important thing to note is that the courts need other units of government to enforce that court decisions. So if those units of government or even other courts don't enforce it, then it may take a while for changes to happen.
Oh, very interesting. I am learning so much from you, Jack. You should be a part-time teacher. Before we switch to Peter, let's correct Mr. Doe's misunderstanding about the executive branch. The executive branch consists mainly of the president, vice president, and the cabinet members. While the president isn't in charge of making laws and legislation, he is responsible for enforcing and executing them. In addition, he's also the head of state, head of government, and commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
That is the executive branch in a nutshell.
In addition, the president can also veto a bill before it becomes a law if he doesn't agree with it. However, the legislative branch can override that veto with 2/3 votes by Senate. The president can also sign or negotiate treaties with other nations, which again requires 2/3 votes by Senate to pass. Another one of his powers that requires Senate confirmation is the appointing of Supreme Court justice.
Good information, Tony. Since we covered the other two branches already, we might as well talk about the legislative branch. As you see, the legislative branch is responsible for making laws and legislation that affect our society and nation as a whole.
Yep, that sounds about right. What else should we know about the legislative branch?
Thanks for asking, Tony. First and foremost, the legislative branch is a bicameral legislature, meaning it is a legislature that's divided into two houses. And this concept applies to all of Congress and all of the states, except for Nebraska. It's a unicameral over there, meaning it's a one-house legislature.
But Jack, what are the two houses?
You see, Tony, the two houses of the legislative branch include the House of Representatives and the Senate. The difference is that the House of Representatives consists of 435 members, is more centralized, and has their own exclusive privileges as well. These privileges include enacting House Rules Committees, which review bills before they're being sent off to the House for the actual debate, initiate revenue bills, and also file impeachment charges against an official.
Very interesting. What about the Senate?
You see, Tony, the Senate consists of 100 members, is less centralized, and also has their own exclusive privileges as well. For example, these privileges include ratify all treaties, confirm presidential nomination, enact filibusters, which is basically talking a bill to death, and also enacting a counter act, which is cloture, which is basically majority vote to stop filibuster of a bill.
Also, aren't there important members associated with each house too?
Yes, there are, Tony. So you see, the Speaker of the House presides over the House of Representatives Senators and has exclusive powers regarding the assignment and making of committees and such. Not to mention, he's also in line for presidency if in the cases that the president and vice president cannot fulfill their duties.
Who presides over the Senate then?
The vice president presides over the Senate, and he is also unique due to the fact that he can cast a tie-breaking vote in regarding a bill or a nominated official. But enough of that. We got a little distracted. Let's go back to the government teacher.
It is truly sad that our government teacher doesn't even know his stuff. How's he supposed to teach his students? Let's cut to Peter with the misguided teacher.
Hello, Mr. Doe. What do you have to say for yourself in terms of your teaching?
Honestly, I didn't know I was in it wrong. I was taught this government information from my own gov teacher, Mr. Eggert. He told me that the opportunity cost of more rights is less security. So that's why the Bill of Rights only has the first 5 amendments. He was a great gov teacher.
First 5 amendments is the first 10 amendments. Do you even know the first 5 amendments?
Of course I know. The First Amendment is the right to religion, speech, petition, and assembly. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. The Third Amendment is the right to decide to quarter soldiers in your house or not. The Fourth Amendment is the protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. A detailed warrant with probable cause is required for the search and seizure. The Fifth Amendment is the right to remain silent until questioned in front of a grand jury. It also protects you against double jeopardy, which is when you are prosecuted for the same crime twice. And it also protects you from being witness against yourself. Lastly, it provides due process of law for everyone.
Wow, I'm surprised. You're right. But do you know the other 5 amendments?
Oh, you got me there. Unfortunately, I don't know the other ones.
Let me help you. The 6th Amendment talks about criminal court procedures. The accused has the right to a public and speedy trial, the right to know the accusation against him or her, the right to obtain witnesses in his or her favor, the right to confront witnesses against him or her, and the right to an attorney. The 7th Amendment involves civil court cases. In those type of cases, the right of trial by jury is preserved only when the case involves money that is greater than $20. But nowadays, the amount is actually $75,000. The 8th Amendment prevents excessive bails and fines. It also prevents cruel and unusual punishment. The 9th Amendment states that there are other rights not mentioned in the Constitution that should still not be violated because they are the people's natural rights. And finally, the 10th Amendment ensures that the rights not delegated to the government by the Constitution or prohibited to the states are naturally reserved to the states and therefore to the people.
Wow, I never knew that. But if most of the power belongs to the people, then how come Trump became president when Hillary won the popular vote? I smell something fishy here.
It's a common misconception. The people don't actually directly vote for the president or the vice president. They vote for electors in the Electoral College, which in turn votes for the president and the vice president. The Electoral College consists of 538 electors, who are all the senators, the representatives, and the 3 electors from Washington, D.C. 48 of the 50 states do a winner-take-all system, in which the popular vote determines which candidate gets all of the electoral votes in that state. 2 exceptions are Maine and Nebraska. In those states, the winner of the popular vote gets 2 electoral votes, and the winner of each congressional district in each of those states get 1.
Ah, I now understand. So, Trump won because he had more electoral votes than Hillary. I see.
You're right. That's a good review of the Bill of Rights and the Electoral College. Now back to you.
Our educational system has truly declined. It is miserable. It is a mess. Soon it will be alternative educations if we don't act now.
This has been a sad and depressing episode of FE Times, Tony. Well, we'll continue to investigate the ongoing regarding Mr. Doe. But for now, let's hope we can prevent our future generations from being misled by an orange buffoon in the White House.
Hey Jack, is the Trump administration coming to FE Times today? They're a bit late.
Man. Tony, are they hiding in the bushes again? Man, they sure like to spice things up, don't they?